Hi everyone once again.
Welcome.
So here we are again with another topic. I think it's a good continuation to our previous topics, to kind of, in theory as well and in topics as well, to take a look at portfolio management and to talk a bit about what's portfolio management, maybe touch a bit on what is road mapping, what's the relation between the two, and where the whole portfolio management topic is going at the moment.
Yes.
In the business world. Okay, so let's start maybe.
And I even changed the location this time, only for you.
Yeah. Manuel is in Prater, so yeah, he is having his happy day at the moment.
Exactly.
I wish I could be there with you.
Soon to be again.
Yeah. Okay. So what is portfolio management? I guess that's the first question to answer.
I think that the funny thing is before I joined Capture, when somebody was talking about portfolio, I was always thinking of, I know portfolio from financial background somewhere, but it was always taking or having something to do with stock to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And that was actually my starting point as well. And in my opinion, actually, it's not too far away, because in both areas, it's deciding about investments. And I think that's exactly the best summary that it can give. So portfolio is way more than just the summary of all projects that you have. It's actually a way of getting the right things done in your organization and having some sort of decision supporting functionality or supporting process around all the topics that come in. And I think that's exactly what portfolio management actually is.
Yeah. And I think generally portfolio, why I think it's also very close, right? In the financial world, it's a collection of investments, right? It's a carefully picked collection of investments, or well, for some it's carefully, for some it's a bit less carefully picked. Nonetheless, it's a collection of investments in there, and I think again in here, collection and prioritization and what you put into this bucket that you call portfolio. It kind of doesn't matter if it's stocks, bonds, or if it's other types of investments. If it's a software development project, if it's I don't know, a production modernization project, or portfolio where you put a lot of other projects into it as well that relate to kind of the same purpose, right? So
exactly.
I think for my understanding, when we talk about portfolios, we talk a bit about a collection of items that aims to achieve the same purpose.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to mention, actually, because the biggest, let's say, the biggest differentiation between a program, which could also be a collection of projects to a certain degree, and a portfolio is actually on a portfolio level, you're really going to decide about the investment itself. Mm-hmm. So whether or not you are going to fund one specific project that might or might not support the goal of the overall thing. Whereas in a program, you just collect different projects together that still have the same aim, but you're not individually deciding on whether or not you want to really fund it or want to put resources in it. On portfolio level, you're really going to make decisions based on different KPIs that you probably want to gather. So like things like, I don't know, funds, to really look at, okay, do we have enough cash? Do we have enough CapEx, OpEx money to fund this? So these are some sort of things that you're going to decide, that you put into some sort of decision criteria matrix or whatsoever you're going to define and decide on. And then you're going to say, okay, these are the 2, 3, 10, whatever projects in this portfolio that we're going to execute this year, this quarter, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. And we've talked only about projects, but as per my understanding, portfolios can have demands as well in them, right? So it's generally a collection of demands and projects.
Yes.
And I think that's also an important part that, as far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, usually in programs you don't really put demands, right?
That's my understanding as well. So
yeah, okay.
Portfolios is really talking about investments. And I think if
Exactly.
as you used it before, it's really that term, because it could also be something that is not formally known as a project. It could also be an investment. Whatever it is, something that has to get funding, that has to achieve a certain goal that you want to track, that's part of portfolio. And also, I think there the analogy with a classical financial portfolio is also quite well, because also in a financial portfolio, you want to track the development, whether the stocks are going into the right direction and your investments are actually making profit. And that's actually this is exactly the same what you want to do in portfolio management as well, to see, are the projects moving into the right directions? Are the strategies and goals are properly aligned? And is everything moving at the right pace? And whenever you see a deviation, you want to decide really from top to bottom whether or not you want to still invest or put additional money in it, or maybe divest and throw the money at a different topic.
Yeah. I think this is, we talked in the previous sessions as well, and on previous topics that these terms or these kind of functions can be used in any kind of industry, but I think it's the most true when we talk about portfolio management. So, a lot of things that, I don't know, different project management methodologies or managing demands, those are at the moment a bit closer to the IT world and the development world. I still keep my opinion that they can be applied to any other. Sorry about that. There was a cat who almost died in the background. Thankfully, it survived. So I keep my opinion that you can really use the rest of it, so demand management and different project management methodologies, for any kind of industry in the world.
Yes.
But I think it's especially true to portfolio management. So even if you do not have something as well organized in the other areas, tracking your investments is a crucial thing. So, investing blindly, I don't think that any professional investor would really recommend you do that. And whether you're a private investor or whether you're a company or anyone who wants to really organize their investments in a portfolio, you need to utilize these possibilities, and you need to learn how to do that properly, because that's how you can drive your business in the correct direction. And I think that's a very strong part of it. Without that visibility, you really do not know whether you're putting your money where it belongs. And I've had a few discussions with people in the recent past where I think we would be surprised how many big companies are still relatively big companies, but are still kind of blind on their investments. They kind of know because they do get a weekly update or a monthly update based on data that's maybe 100% accurate, maybe just 90%, maybe 80%, but there isn't a real decision point put in there. So, if they've invested once, they will keep on investing, and they don't evaluate and reevaluate and take a look again and make sure that the money goes into the right places.
Yes. And even, I think if you take it even one level further, whether the investment is actually aligned to a goal or a strategy or both. So, and I think that's exactly what you mentioned is so true, because it's for every business, for every organization, it is essential to drive the organization forward. And that's I think exactly the definition of a portfolio, because that's a summary of tasks, however you name them, to achieve a certain goal that needs money and resources. And it's a portfolio. Whether it's a digitization portfolio that you want to, I don't know, digitize your company, whether it's a sales portfolio where you want to make your sales being better, or support your sales processes in a different way. It doesn't matter. As soon as it gets a budget on a regular basis, so it's a top-down decision that has to be made. This could be seen as a portfolio, and you could even start small, like with one portfolio to decide on and put the effort in there, and then grow and structure it over the organization. That's a very good starting point as well, without changing everything in the complete company.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think more or less we covered what portfolio is for, but there is another term that gets brought up in relation to portfolios and portfolio management, and that's road mapping. Can you just tell me so that I fully understand what's the difference? Because for a lot of people, including me, it was looked at as a kind of a replacement for portfolio management, when, as far as I know, it's still not exactly that, right? So
the thing is, when you look at current development, so portfolio management is something that is, let's say, very, very typical in the waterfall-like classical project execution world, where you do your more or less annual, maybe quarterly or half-year meetings, where you decide on your investments. But if you look at current development, there are two certain shifts. The one is being more agile in general, puts the classical portfolio under some pressure because the planning cycle is a little bit too big, maybe. And the other thing that is important is also that organizations are going away from classical projects and are more driving into products, which also is a complete shift in the way of how they treat their investments. Okay. And I mean, if you think of a portfolio is a collection of investments. These investments typically have a defined start and end date or something like that. Yeah. So even in a portfolio, you already have some sort of roadmap where you say, okay, if I want to deliver that, I need as a prerequisite maybe this item. And that's the quite same as we see in road mapping as well. But the roadmap has a more really product-centric approach, and really is more of the, let's say, Scrum or product manager language that you will normally see, whereas a classical portfolio manager would not speak about a roadmap. Although, in my opinion at least, from a functional perspective or from a way on how you treat the different items, it's quite similar actually. So you have the dependencies, you have the possibility to plan on a timely basis, and you also want to probably define scenarios where you compare different roadmaps or portfolios with each other, and see what effect those have on the overall picture. But from an execution perspective, so what's then below, when you start and finish up your roadmap or your portfolio, this could be a whole lot different, where you really go a product way, you do product development. When you go the classical portfolio way, you will go into the demand and project management.
So then basically road mapping is a bit more dynamic, we can say that, right? So it's a bit more changing or constantly changing and changeable way of managing your portfolio, because at the end of the day you are still managing your portfolio, but then let's say you're managing your products, right? So your road mapping is for really managing your products rather than in a classical way your portfolio of investments, right?
I think that's a perfect summary.
Oh, thank you. Good. I think that's a good end note as well, because it seems like if I understood, then probably the rest of the people understood as well.
Let's see. I'm curious about the feedback on that one, and also if there are some objections, because I mean this is a huge topic, and there have been books written only on portfolio management. Yeah,
and it's a new topic. I think, at least road mapping is at least this use of a roadmap is not something that I would say really was something commonly used in 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's something that's being picked up a bit more commonly at this point in time.
Yeah.
So I think it's generally an interesting topic. Probably we could talk about it after a bit more preparation. Also, you know, to open that topic up and maybe why that change has come. But let's see about that.
That's true.
All right. I think it was a good discussion as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting some feedback on it, because I know that some of these topics, at least in the business world that we touch, there are some controversial opinions, and everyone has a bit different view on. Even the last time we talked about hybrid project management, but again, this new topic or a newer topic when it comes to road mapping, I think at the moment these are ones that really call for a bit of a debate in the community.
Absolutely. I would love to hear any opinions and any objections on that. I will be more than happy to discuss this.
All right, Manuel, thanks a lot.
Thanks, TV.
It was fun discussing again, and then see you the next time.
See you next time. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.